Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tim Patterson, Chairman of the Economy Solution Group. I'd like to initially thank, before we get into the organisational thanks, Chairman, not President, sorry, got that wrong early, sir, Chairman Razdan, for helping us keep with our chair here, helping us keep on target, on track. It's a difficult session, it's an important session, and I thank you, sir, for promising to take white papers to government, central government, because some of the things we're going to share today, we have shared, but I'm going to share as well, as strategic for government and financial industry level to ensure the right technologies, including biomass, SAF, etc., where appropriate, are adopted. Energy and Environment Foundation, fantastic organisers. Thank you for this event. Chairman Anil Rastan, thank you, sir. President Dr. Anil Garg, Mr. Popley, the steering committee, panel chair, Mr. Ramakrishna, thank you, sir, on a difficult job today, doing brilliantly well. Distinguished guests and delegates, and last by no means least, co-panelists, and anyone watching on the World Wide Web after this event. Namaskar. We have some real challenges right now. I've got a rowing the boat analogy you'll see on the screen there. If we look at climate impacts and we also then address what technologies we use, what technologies we put together, that's the only way we're going to make this work. No point doing things that don't solve the problem. So we row in one direction with one oar, we row in both, with both oars in one direction, but we end up where we started if we go with one and not the other. Next. So this is the presentation summary. Long and short is, I'll keep it very brief about Economy Solution Group. You can go to economysolutiongroup.com and see more about us. Overview why data and finance are key. This is absolutely critical. The confidence of the markets root from the data. Data comes from incubation and early investment. We don't need $1 billion into one technology. We need 200 VCTs with $5 million in each. Understanding and measuring climate impact. Sorry if all of you are familiar with climate science, but I'm going to just run through a few things so that we can keep an eye on the balancing act between understanding the impact of the technologies we invest in and scale and commercialise. And then developing viable biological energy technologies. Next. So congratulations to India. It's been a great week. First landing on the South Pole on the moon. Chairing G20 in September. Obviously sitting across the divides with many, with BRICS, expanding BRICS, part of G20, you're the bridge across all of the divides, if you like, across the world. So congratulations, but with great leadership comes great responsibility. And if you take a path down a certain route and it's a dead end and other people follow you, then a lot of people are going to make that same mistake. So I implore and urge India as leaders to get it right. And here's some ideas about how we might be able to do so. Next. Just a stark reminder, this study came out a couple of years ago. 2 billion children on the planet, ladies and gentlemen, and 1 billion of them are at risk from climate change. That could be death, serious injuries, starvation, malnutrition. It could be abuse, physical, mental, or it could be losing their homes. It could be worse than that. If any of you have children, if you have 2 children, 1 child, it's a flip of a coin if it's them. If you have 2 children or more, which one of your children are you going to choose to go through that experience? And these children, these billion children impacted, live in 33 countries that haven't caused climate change. Next. So Economy Solution Group, we've got 4 subsidiaries. Key brands are around fuel, decarbonising energy, green, as in biosphere restoration, this is critical. Health, increasing biological resilience of society, because there will be a COVID 2021. And then finance. Without the wraparound of finance, we can't fund anything. So all the brilliant things we've heard today here at this event and at this panel in particular, you won't be able to go anywhere with those expertise if you don't have the money. Next. So Economy Solution Group HQ, we're part of a science innovation campus, the 3rd biggest investment by the UK government since 1962. Oxford and Cambridge are the only bigger ones. The first atom smashing in the world were done there. Next. And these are our 4 brands and logos. Next. We have a strong management team. You can see that online. Next. The key ESG sectors. Key things to note here, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we work across this. We're called a group for a reason. But finance and climate science are absolutely crucial as the foundation stone of what we do. And right at the end, health and life sciences, last but by no means least, because if we don't impact the health of humans, we're just going to get sicker. There's going to be more plastic than fish in the oceans by 2050, and we eat the fish, they eat the plastic. So it's not going to get any better from here if we don't get the health and life sciences correct. Next. So this is our ecosystem around how we change behaviour. You can see more of that online and in the PDF provided by the foundation. Next, and these are our brands. So you can see the sub-brand around decarbonising energy under fuel economy solution, around mining, that's the mineral, blue, that's the shipping, and then the coal, as in decarbonising the coal sector. We believe 96.4%, almost carbon neutral coal is achievable by 2025. Not worldwide, but we can prove it at scale, at industrial scale in India. Next. So finance economy solution, I'll skip through this, but basically there are 4 key types of finance that we are working on at the Economy Solution Group. Next. Basically, you want to take incubation from technology readiness levels 1 to 3, take them into proof of concept, and then into TRL 7 to 9, take them to market. Data is absolutely critical all the way through. Next. So the 4 types of investment. If you look at incubators, we're looking at working with local governments and national governments to get match funding with incubators. Phase 2 growth and scaling. Major technology with horizontal programs. So you take graphene. If we can find a way of creating low-cost graphene, then what we can do is we can use graphene in sustainable building materials, recycle demolition waste, put graphene in, strengthen it up. We can have modular building systems, low-cost housing for a fraction of the cost of current build. Graphene can go into energy storage, supercapacitors, ultracapacitors. It can go into semiconductor chips. So how do we find that horizontality technology or those technologies that can really be saviour technologies across many verticals? Then the last one, this may be something that many of us might not be familiar with, but NGOs, IMF, World Bank, UN, they work with international banks to create non-profit funds that they can then deploy into large-scale humanitarian and infrastructure programs. So we're working on a number of bases around raising funds and creating funds for that. You'll see at the bottom there, yesterday, session 2, we had a sustainable finance global cooperation panel. And note, all of these above 4 categories of investment type, they were indicated as critical by members of ARENA, of the World Bank and the Rockefeller Foundation. So why data and finance are key? Data is the most important takeaway from the last World Petrocoal Congress that the Foundation held on energy and fuels back in February, and the certainty of the outcomes. Without the confidence in the data, the investors will not take the hands from underneath their bottoms and go to their bank and take the money out and give it to you. Okay, so building certainty and building investor confidence is key, so the data is paramount. The finance is released based on the proof of that data and the evidence. So data is the foundation, we suggest, and finance is the fuel. Next. And again. Thank you. So understanding climate impacts. I'm going to skip through because I'm running short. Atmospheric SO2 has declined a lot since the IMO sulfur cap. Well intended, however, the only thing from the IPCC AR6 report in the summary for policymakers that's indicated one of the main thing that was stopping global warming getting worse was the global dimming effect of reflecting radiation out to space by SO2 particles. So that in itself is a problem because now we have less SO2, the oceans are heating up. Next. So next, this is a diagram of, you can see Greenland in the red ring. Greenland is currently around 10 to 14 degrees, 2 metre anomaly above the ground, 10 to 14 degrees higher than the baseline from 1980 to 2000. All right, that's way off the scale. This isn't just 1.5 degrees stuff. All right, and on the left, there's the orange. The orange is the burning of Canada wildfires, and that's around 8 to 10 degrees higher right now. But the soot is falling on Greenland. And the moss from the biological matter on the soot and the carbon is darkening the ice. So the ice itself is absorbing more solar radiation. So it's accelerating the rate of melt. Now, this might not sound like a big problem to some people, but penguins are having trouble. Emperor penguins, 4 recent massive colonies couldn't have any chicks. But the big problem is the whole oceanic system and the whole meteorological system is driven by saltwater sinking from going from the Gulf warm, and then it goes to Greenland, for example, and it sinks, it gets cold. Diluted with fresh water and rainwater, but fresh water from the melt, that makes it so it doesn't sink as quickly. So we're losing convective action in the oceans. So we're going to get stratification in oceans, we're going to get dead spots. We're already declining in fish stocks by over 50% the last 20 years. So we're in trouble here, ladies and gentlemen. We need to get this sorted. So understanding the impact of your technology. So if we could just skip forward about 4 slides, please. So keep going. That's the one. Okay, thank you. So how do we develop a smart meter to fly the planet? How do we know this? How do we find this out? What do we invest in that we know is going to do the good stuff? So current systems reflect on carbon, but we need to know the impact on, the Earth. So we're going to be building a living carbon bank and a living carbon measuring system. That's every square meter of carbon on the blockchain. Okay, that's secure, uncorruptible record by satellite telemetry. We need quantum computing, so we're going to build a $1 billion quantum computer at the International Centre for Simulation in Geneva, and the whole world will have access to that machine. And we will be able to model not only AI analytics for future forecasted technologies, what it will do to the 550 gigaton of living carbon deficit. Will it reduce that? Can we make money from carbon credits and saving of carbon, and biochar has to go back into the soils as well. So biochar production from, any source that's been discussed today, it should really be produced and put back into the soils. We need to decarbonize, but we need to put back into the ocean and to the soils. Next. So whole earth carbon accounting. Go to envisionation.org, please sign up, get the newsletter, and when they launch the empathy coin, buy some coin, invest in the world, and that will fund the building of the quantum computer. Next, the 4 viable technologies I'm not going to touch on now because that would be rude to co-panelists. I'll just say one word about each of them. Cyclonic oxidation. Okay, that's about a 1940s method. It basically produces no NOx, 950 to 1400 degrees C operating temperature, any waste, including creating biochar from food mass biomass. Resonant control electrolysis hydrogen. This will exceed anything we've seen today so far that I've witnessed. It breaks the covalent bonds of hydrogen and oxygen by up to 93%, so it collapses the cost of splitting. That will make ultra-low cost hydrogen from which we can do the green hydrogen things that we're all dreaming about right now. Then there's graphene production. We're going to coal economy solution, working with partners to decarbonise the coal sector. We have the license for India, and we're looking to follow up the very first partner technology install in Thailand this year, with India launches next year in coal-fired power station, reduction in coal combustion, decarbonising 40% of the CO2, and hopefully 12 months from now we'll have a carbon recovery system with fluidic oscillation technology that's in trial at a lab level. That's saving 96% of CO2 at a lab level using fluidic oscillator microbubbles. So if we can do that, add those 2 technologies together, we could create low-cost graphene from the CO2 using fluidic oscillation, and then that goes in a compressed atmosphere onto rotating copper drums. So G1 graphene, fraction of the cost, it's vapor deposition method, and then we've got an energy storage supercapacitor alternative to lithium ion. I think I'm going to call it a day there, ladies and gentlemen, because we are running out of time. I thank you for your patience, and thanks again to Chairman Razdan for your patience and for your help in getting our information to the government.